Recording. Yes, cool. Okay. Hey there, YouTube. It's Blake here. This is my second week video for Trans Swagger. This week's topic is how do we see ourselves and want other people to see us. Putting words to how I identify is kind of difficult because I mean, like, I identify as queer, genderqueer, and trans masculine, but I don't always know if those I feel like I kind of like just hints as to where I lie on kind of like the gender spectrum and whatnot. You know, some people call their gender identity like fluid or whatnot, but for some reason I've always like that's never quite felt like it fit for me. So I've actually kind of always seen my gender identity as more of kind of like a Jackson Pollock painting, where like there's all different levels. Okay, it's not just a Jackson Pollock painting, but like a 3D Jackson Pollock painting, where there's all different kinds of levels added on. So like just like splatters of paint and like different colors and neon colors. I love neon colors, and but not just in like the 2D, but like in a 3D kind of realm, where like, you know, and the older I get, the more I learn, and the more I learn about myself, and the more color is added and whatnot. I think that's, for me, the best way, because it's like gender is messy, it's not clean cut, it's not just like something that you're like, oh, it's like I'm like masculine today or I'm feminine today. I'm always a little bit of everything, and I'm always all over the place, and I don't even know if it's always best to, for myself, I don't always even feel like identify on the binary. I feel like that's kind of a narrative that has only emerged. Okay, I mean, the narrative's been around for a really long time, but I don't necessarily think that it's something that I hold true for myself. Kind of like just, yeah, the older I get, like the more the way that I want people to perceive me has changed. I remember when I first started identifying as kind of like a dyke, more masculine, fab, probably sometime in early high school. I remember how upset I used to get when people would like misgender me and they'd use male pronouns. But then I guess something switched and I realized that I actually kind of liked it, and I would actually always get a kick out of when people would use male pronouns with me, and it actually kind of became a source of power because I saw that people were actually seeing something in me that I didn't yet have words to describe, a kind of gender ambiguous liminal space. And I think that's kind of how I've started to come to terms with who I am now and become much more confident in my gender queerness. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's hard, like planning out your gender and like presenting it in a way that is coherent. I think is actually really hard. And so I've actually tried doing this video multiple times, and at multiple points I get stuck because it's just really hard to describe it. I would say one of the big things that has helped me come to terms with how I identify and like where I see myself and how I want people to see me was actually going to Gender Odyssey, which I don't know if you know about. It's this awesome conference that happens at the end of summer in Seattle, and it kind of just opened me up to different ways of being trans. And you know, like I always guess I used to worry, like, am I trans enough to hold that label? And I guess I realized that, you know, I can be trans and I can be masculine, and I don't have to have hormones, and that I can do it in my own way, and that even living here in London, I can have full conversations with people and they think that I'm male. They might think that I'm a 12-year-old, 13-year-old male. I mean mab, I'm sorry. And but you know, that's an experience in itself, and I've kind of just been playing around with, well, being perceived as younger. I like here I've noticed that I mean I'm read as male so much more that it's like I go into a bar and I'm ID'd. I get into the bar after I've been ID'd because everyone gets ID'd coming in. Then I get ID'd at the bar, I meant the entrance, and then I get ID'd at the bar again. Yeah, so it's been interesting because I'm not used to that in the States. Usually I get only female pronouns. But yeah, I kind of like it. It's different being here in London versus the States. I mean, I have to admit I miss the queer culture of the States a little bit. I'm just queer family and whatnot. But sorry, back to how I identify. So yeah, like kind of like my whole perception of myself and like what am I okay with and being sensitive to other people using pronouns has changed. I remember when I first was coming out as genderqueer, it was really important for me that people use pronouns and inclusive language, and when people didn't, it really hurt and I would get overly upset about it. I wouldn't, okay, overly upset's not the right wording. I would say I just got upset because I thought that people weren't acknowledging my existence for who I was, and, you know, these were my friends that I'd had since I was a kid, and they just didn't understand. And that was a hard time that I had to go through. But I made it through. There's always other people out there, you know. I think what really stuck through with me in that instance was, because I did lose a lot of friends when I came out, was my friend Lewis told me, he was like, Blake, listen, I met him at Gender Odyssey too, actually. He told me that, you know, no matter how old you are, there's so many people out there that you have yet to meet that will, like, are gonna completely change the way that you think and the way that, like, you view the world, and they're gonna give you a new perspective. And yeah, I don't know, I just met so many wonderful people that have helped acknowledge me for how I see myself, and that has been so essential in me coming to terms sooner. I mean, eventually I would have come to it, but coming sooner to my own gender identity and comfort. I'm not sure I want to take testosterone, because I do worry about being too masculine, as far as I really like fitting into the queer world, like the queer scene. It's like my family, and I'm afraid that if I start to be identified as more male, it's like I become invisible in the queer community, which is my family. And I think, you know, I would learn to navigate that kind of male mab space, but I'm not sure that's something I want yet. So that's something I'm working through. But I guess, okay, so how I see myself. I really like that kind of, like, you know, gender ambiguous, gender queer, kind of masculine ambiguous space, which most people perceive as being a younger person. But c'est la vie. I'm young. I'll be like 15 forever. It's gonna be great. I'm like Peter Pan. So yeah, that's basically how I see myself. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I wanted to bring up this week? Oh, not really. Oh yeah, this awesome video quality. I went from like terrible video quality to this awesome video quality thanks to my wonderful dating partner. Actually, that's the thing I want to talk about is gender neutral language within relationships, and how that's been an interesting experience for me in trying to find words for things that they aren't always, you know, like there's boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, but there's not really like, you know, like a, we're not, because I always think of partner as like you're married already, like, you know, domestic partners. And what is domestic partner? It's like, you know, we stay in the house all day. I don't know, it's weird. But, I'm sorry, oops. It's just odd. Anyway, but yeah, so I actually came up with a term with my previous partner, as a way of acknowledging the fact that, you know, we were dating and that we were neutral, and it didn't necessarily give place on the binary. We didn't exactly place each other on the binary when we called each other dating partner. Yeah, and so I guess you could also call it DP, that's what we use sometimes. Yeah, just a really great term. And I'd actually be really curious if other people have different terms like that, of ways of navigating relationships, gender ambiguously. Anyway, that's it for now. I need to go get a cup of coffee. I just woke up and I need to get some coffee. It was good seeing you. I'll see you next week. And ciao!